Hello there, my fellow weary travelers. Um, I'm going to take a little different approach to this video here, just because I think everyone, watched the presidential debates. And honestly, overall, I'm going to give you my one take on this. That I know how I feel politically. I'll put it to you this way: I will and stand by and vote for the guy who did terribly last night, who had an off night. Theirs was cold. He's got another debate coming up in September. But overall, though, well, and I will explain this in a sec, but overall, I think, and to quote John Stewart after seeing the performance last night, maybe they need performance enhancing drugs just to keep things going because we had one that was both were rehashing things that happened over 4 years ago, but one kept reiterating it and literally, well, I'm going to say you're going to vote who you're going to vote for and so forth. But, it just made me realize last night when I was watching it, I was going to do something, a little extensive thing on how comic books have either been influenced or influenced unknowingly politics. And if you look back in the back, you see someone who was put in by DC Comics as a joke at that time due to the presidential election that was we didn't know who was going to win between George Bush and Al Gore, and they put in their own candidate Lex Luthor, who was a businessman with corrupt dealings, who mercilessly attacked one of the most popular superheroes of all time, his arch nemesis Superman, and so forth. I mean, there were things this guy did that wouldn't even have he was a convicted felon, and he won in the comic books. It's a storyline dictation, but it asked the question though: if there was an outside candidate, whether they had flaws or anything, someone outside the political norm, would you vote for them? Well, except in the comic books, you know, the U.S. public did. That mirrored what happened in 2016, 20, whatever year he won. But overall, at this time, we saw what happened during those 4 years after that. And then we saw January 6th. And then we're seeing now a repeat of what could happen again. Now, looking back, going back to the comic books and everything and all that, it's kind of like it's almost mirroring, what happened. The problem is we don't have a Superman or Batman to bring them down or anything like that, because that's what happened in Superman, Batman, Public Enemies. Go read the storyline by Jeff Loeb and Ed McGuinness, but also watch the movie too. But the thing is that though we also have someone that you know, we are wondering about his age, and they're both close to the same. They are both close to the same age. Literally, they are. But you have a cold, and you're going through, you're fighting that and everything. But yet, if that's going to affect you cognitively, do we need to worry? And I'm going to sit here and say this: yes and no. Yes, in a way, we kind of do, but no, we don't, because I'm going to go by with what he has done for this country and hopefully what he plans to do in the next 4 years if elected. And he's not Superman or Batman or anything, but again, like what happened in 2019 and 2020, who else is there? And last night's debate, though, altogether, it was like, there's going to be fact checking on both of them, but fact checking on one certain person and the lies that were told, that was insane. That was crazy. Okay. And overall, too, with the incumbent president, he looked out of it. I mean, there's no sugarcoating it. And I mean, I'm going to be with everyone. I'm not going to sugarcoat it or anything. He looked out of it, and he's got to do better. I'm standing with them because it's like what I've been seeing on memes and everything. It's like, if Alfred may be too old, to clean the Batcave, but I would rather vote for Alfred instead of the Joker. That's a statement right there. Okay, because at this time right now in our country, autocracy is something that is we got to be careful about. And I look back at as far as comic books and everything. They've in a subtle ways they've always combated that. It's like Captain America knocking Hitler on his ass in 1941. Okay, and at that time that was controversial because America wasn't entered in World War II yet, and the biggest people that were offended were the German Bund, who were Nazi sympathizers. Hello, is there any mirrors to that, to what's been going on lately? But eventually, though, most of the majority of the timely characters, what Marvel known was back then, Captain America, Namor, and the Human Torch, fought real life villains, the Nazis. Let's fast forward to maybe the 60s. You had the Vietnam War. You had you know, at that time, civil rights was happening. And, that influenced comic books on the civil rights part with the creation of the X-Men and then the creations of Black Panther, Joe Robinson, Luke Cage, and then, so forth. Um, as a progress in comic books as far as when it comes to people of color, of African Americans, how they were, you know, depicted and everything. Strong black characters was needed to be seen. And then with Watergate happening, what Vietnam War was still going on, but with Watergate, you had Captain America fight a group called the Secret Empire, and I believe it was Cap 123. Someone could, correct me on that in the comments, but you look at when he found out who the leader was, and it was shocking and all that. Many people thought, and that leader killed himself in front of Captain America, causing him to give up Captain America and become Nomad. It destroyed his ideals, and the rumor was that it was alluded to was President Nixon, and how pretty much there was, the young writers' responses at that time were, and I believe it was Sting Englehart to Watergate, the Watergate scandal, and Nixon resigning. It's amazing. And then later on, years later, Captain America was in 250 by Roger Stern and John Byrne was actually considered to be a candidate for the presidency as an independent. You had the two big ones, the Democrats and the Republicans, courting him. But eventually, he knew that he couldn't decide and be a part of one or the other. Both of them needed to work together, and that right there is the key for both Democrats and Republicans, for all of us all together in this nation now. What we are seeing, what we saw last night, is scary on both parts. Okay, no matter how I feel, no matter if I feel if that I might vote, that I know I will vote for Biden, that I know many of you will vote for Trump. If you make comments, let's make comments in a good way. But the thing is, as for all of us who want to continue in a democratic government, let's be, get together. For the Democrats now, unite. Okay? For the Republicans who believe in democracy, still unite. This isn't a political. I didn't want to do a political video yet, but after last night and then me thinking of this, something had to be said. So, folks, as I finish and all that, my thoughts are that we can still continue to be as a one nation, and despite whatever religious belief you are and all, under God or any other deity and everything, to move forward. We are not, as Americans, over yet. We are still a democracy. We still have our individual rights and freedoms. Don't let anything or anyone think that you do not have that. So please remember that, please. And again, when it comes to comic books, it's going to be influenced no matter what. It's going to influence comic books. It's going to, politics. It's going to influence a lot of things. So let's look at that, in a further episode. Please hit hit the like button and subscribe to and please, I would love it if you subscribe to my channel. It's been growing, and I want to sit here and say thank you to all. And I'm going to make more content and do something much more bigger in the future. So please, thank you for sticking with me. So to everyone, please have a blessed and wonderful day and a wonderful weekend. And as always, agape, and hit me up on Patreon also. Thank you.